We noted in a previous episode that the wheel of heaven served as the archetype for the so-called wheel throne of kings, heroes, and sages. This included the wheel throne of Yahweh, one of the many Hebrew human avatars of the planet Mars. That the cosmic wheel was the archetype for the throne can only mean that the wheel itself was the throne. Triptolemus, another Greek personification of the planet Mars, sits on a throne with wheels. In essence, the Martian charioteer rides a chariot without horses. Numerous prophets through the ages and in all 4 volumes of Scripture have written about the throne of God. The prophets were not merely using metaphorical language to describe the majesty of God. Many of them claimed to actually have seen the throne itself, or a likeness thereof. The prophets also knew exactly where the throne was, and said so directly. It was in the heavens. Jesus Christ himself spoke of the heavenly throne of God, both during his mortal life and in this dispensation. Like his prophets, he explicitly indicated that the throne of God was set in heaven. What was it that the prophets saw in the heavens? What was the heavenly throne, or the likeness of the heavenly throne? We have indicated the worldwide connection between the cosmic wheel and the wheel throne of ancient mythology. This connection holds true with both ancient and modern prophets. When they saw the heavenly throne, the wheel or wheels were almost always present. In his famous vision of the Merkabah, the heavenly wheel throne, the prophet Ezekiel saw 4 wheels. But Ezekiel first saw only one wheel, which became 4 wheels. The wheel he saw was this. But the wheels were simply one facet of the much larger vision of the heavenly throne, as Ezekiel relates later in the vision. The heavenly throne was located in the firmament above the cherubim, who, in turn, were above the wheels. Some representations of Ezekiel's vision of the wheels and throne keep the wheels separate from the throne as shown here. Other representations depict the wheel as an integral part of the throne, known as the Merkabah, or wheel throne. Either way, the planetary archetype is the same. The prophet Daniel saw a similar throne, based upon the same archetype. The throne was a fiery flame, with wheels as burning fire. Joseph Smith saw the celestial throne, but did not see wheels. Instead, he saw a blazing throne within the celestial kingdom that was enclosed by circling flames of fire, very similar to this engraving of the 1689 edition of the Russian Bible. This form of the throne was the wheel without spokes. The surrounding plasma enclosure, also considered the primeval serpent of creation, encircled the hero god Mars as if seated within a blazing throne or enclosed by circling flames of fire. This brings us to Joseph Smith's famous facsimile number 2 of the Book of Abraham. Facsimile number 2 was taken by Joseph Smith from one roll of papyri he obtained in 1835, which Joseph claimed was the Book of Abraham. The facsimile is an example of a common Egyptian hypocephalus. Hypocephali were placed under the head or feet of the dead to assist them in the afterlife. Though Joseph Smith's interpretation of the characters within the facsimile have been challenged, the general design has not been questioned. The Egyptian hypocephalus is an example of the ouroborus archetype, with the hero god sitting within the encircling form of the serpent of creation. The outer circle of the facsimile represents the snake. Since the serpentine form was comprised of brilliant plasma, it also represented encircling fire. In Joseph's facsimile and Egyptian hypocephaly, the hero god was sitting on a throne within the circular enclosure. Figure 7 of facsimile 2 is one of two representations of God on his throne. This Egyptian hypocephalus has the same throne figure. It is the hero god sitting on his throne within his sacred enclosure. Facsimile number 2 contains both elements of the wheel throne archetype. It is a representation of the cosmic wheel with its spokes, and the ouroborus or encircling serpent, both representing the blazing wheel throne of the hero.